feel like this addresses the why, but does the letter address the how?
How what?
So we're talking about the need essentially to control your selfish needs and to direct it alongside with God's will, and creation is moving along with God, and it all sounds great and very helpful. But I think the church's answer to these things is we kind of align ourselves with God's will by subjecting our bodies, right? So fasting and not giving our flesh so much priority. So I guess my question is, does Saint Athanasius go into how to achieve these things? How to get to that point?
Yeah, the life of Anthony.
Mm.
But then you might think, oh, that means I have to become a monastic in the desert. No, the principles are there. The principles are there. There's a constant urge of contemplating God, right? What does the devil want us to do? It doesn't want us to contemplate God. So we have an infinite amount of what we call mundane distractions. Not bad. Like, it's not bad for me to, you know, to go to work and to go to the grocery store and all that stuff. But if I fill my day with these constant distractions so that I'm not contemplating God, and then throw in there Instagram and other, things, all of that is meant for you not to contemplate God, that's if we contemplate God, which means, I mean, the best way I could think about contemplating God is newlyweds, right? Who are always constantly thinking of each other, right? Or even in the engagement period, someone who's constantly thinking of the other person. And even though I'm not thinking about them, I am very aware of their presence in my life, right? Or someone who has a child, right? I am like ontologically changed, right? Before I was just a man, then I became a husband. Now I'm a father. It can't change me now. I'm a father, right? So the idea of me as a father, that is, I'm in constant relationship with my wife and my kids, even though they're not here. Everything I do in my life is oriented towards that in some way, shape, or form, right? Um, and so for us, we have to now have that in our relationship with God. But the body's power over us is incredible. And then the things that the devil throws into there, like a little addiction here, a little addiction there, right? Or a little, it's not even addiction. I'm not addicted to this, but I can't stop looking or doing something, or being, or incredible work schedules, right? 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Um, all of that is what takes us away from that orientation. So there is the ascetical practices plus the orientation towards God, and then also, you are bound, and there's even in the monastic writings to be periods of your time where you're really fighting against sin, right? So how do I keep going in those directions? The problem not necessarily is not the sin, but it's the keep sinning. It's the I'm not going to stop sinning. It's the I'm not going to repent about this. I'm not going to, kind of take a step forward. All of that is what becomes problematic. I think in our view also of what it means to be a good Christian, sometimes we think a good Christian means to have no sin. No, that of course, yeah, that would be a good Christian. But also a good Christian is someone who, even though I have 1,000 sins, I trust in God, right? Even though I might be the worst, and I consider myself the worst, right? We say we stand before God, of whom I am the chief among sinners, right? Like St. Paul says. That person, though, but trusts in the power of the cross and the salvation that God has accomplished, that it's even able to save a wretch like me, to take that Amazing Grace song again. To take, and so that idea of the how, though, is fundamentally being a human being, which is oriented towards God, right? That is really an essential part of our being. So Saint Anthony's letters now, written by Saint Anthony, he often talks about how we can return to being in a natural state, how we can return to being human again. And St. Athanasius later on the incarnation says we were dehumanized because of sin. And through Christ's incarnation, we can become human again. Now, all of that is very, very important. It's critical. In fact, it's critical for our understanding of our salvation and moving forward. The how is there, definitely. Um, sure.
Otherwise,